Hello, everyone. Welcome to ELI, the place where you get your daily dose of inspiration for entrepreneurship. And today we have with us Sougata Basu, who is the founder of CashRich, which is an investment app for retail investors. Hi, Sougata. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Saugata, I would request you to introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a bit about your background, where all did you work, and what was the journey before landing onto entrepreneurship, and more importantly, what made you to choose the entrepreneurial path?
Sure. In the year 2001, 2, which is quite a long time back, uh, internet was just starting. We were accessing basic emails, etc. But I was always very curious about technology. So around 2002, 2003, I started learning how to do web development, etc. I was at PIT Mesra Ranchi, and there I was learning basics of coding, etc. on my own. It was not part of the curriculum, but I was interested in doing that. So what happens normally in a 4-year engineering program is that you can get a internship after the third year normally, and first 1 or 2 years during the summer people don't do anything that much productive. And that I'm talking about our generation. Like now people are doing a lot more things, but at that time opportunities were also limited, and there
Mm,
was not so much of internet penetration. There was no smartphone. Even we used to pay for incoming calls. That was that era. So we so I because I was very interested in technology, I started my own business. Like it was a small web development kind of a business, and I made a decent amount of money during the summer, and it was, I think, at that time some 35,000 rupees, and it was good amount in 1 month for someone who's in the first year of engineering itself.
mm,
And so I thought that this is quite good. Even after studying in engineering and all, and then if I do a job, that is fine. But in case I want to do something of my own, if I have a good skill in technology, then I can earn myself. And that time, that one experience of earning a decent amount of money in a short period of summer internship, and after the first year of engineering, normally companies did not hire anybody. If you knew someone or your parents were able to put you in some company, then you would get some theoretical work just for resume purposes, but practically people didn't do anything in the first or second year of engineering. So this was really a good thing for me, that I got this entrepreneurial experience, and myself I did everything, and I was like the one person who's doing the sales and the technology building and the customer support. So I
mm,
learned all of them. So that was a very good experience for me. And around the same time, 2003-4 time frame, I
okay.
also went to different restaurants and I collected their menu cards. So at
Mm,
that time, you couldn't order online, neither could you pay online. There was not that much, payment gateway kind of concept. So even to order in Domino's, you could call them, they would suggest some options. You are not seeing any of them because there is no screen in front of you,
mm,
and you just select. So that was how we used to order in that period for pizzas and any restaurant. So I thought, why not digitize it? And so I started digitizing. I did a little bit of work, but then when you have a full-time education and exams and stuff like that, you don't actually do it properly. So after doing for a few months, I just left it. So why I'm telling the second story is also because this is the same business which would have eventually, after 10 years, somebody did Zomato or Swiggy,
yes.
etc. But I was way ahead, but I didn't continue. So that also is a regret, that okay, maybe you should continue. So anyway, then what happened was, I did work at Tata Steel, and I also did my MBA from Boston University, and that was really a good experience, because when you go outside India, especially in a city like Boston, it's very vibrant. There's a lot of entrepreneurship going on, and mindset changes. Generally in India, when you are doing your engineering or MBA, I have
Mm,
seen most students focused on the final outcome, which is what job can you get,
correct.
and everything is around that job. Everything, you're building your resume, each and every bullet point you're trying to get so that you get a job. But most of the time what happens is the companies come in a particular order, and
Mm,
if company A comes first and you sit there and you get a job, then you get into company. If company B, the next one comes and you get a job, you sit there and you get the job. But you are not really doing it the right way. The right way should be that you decide what are your skills, what are your interests, where you want to grow. Then you determine, okay, these are the set of companies which are going to be the good fit for me for my long-term career. Then you try to find a right position in those companies, and then you build your career in that field. But
Mm-hmm.
that entire process is absolutely, ulta in our country. Like it is like the order in which companies come, we will take a job. Then after that, we will figure out. We will try to change. We will try to switch and all that.
Right.
So my entire thought process changed when I went to US, because there it was more goal driven. You already know where you are going. The destination is clear. That 5 years down the line, I want to be here. 10 years down the line, I want to be here, and hence you plan your career accordingly. And in my case, I had clearly planned that I would do something in the startup world, like I'll be an entrepreneur, but in the field of finance and technology. At that time, the word fintech was not there, but I wanted to do something in the field of finance and technology. I actually started a portal also for that purpose, and which was focused on careers in finance. So
Mm-hmm.
I kept doing something in the same direction. So after the MBA, I also did a CFA, and I was also keeping myself updated with whatever technologies are coming.
Mm-hmm.
So that journey.
I'll just stop you here. So one question that came to my mind is, why finance and technology? What was the thought process behind that? Because why I'm asking is, many of the founders struggle to, shortlist the right idea. So they spend a lot of time, shortlisting ideas. I know one founder who shortlisted 400 ideas to, you know, explore. So can you explain that process to our audience?
Right, right. So somebody had told me that if there is a work that you would do even if you are not getting paid, okay, what would that work be? Not
Hmm.
everything in life you will get paid for, right? There will be something like somebody might want to just swim, or somebody might want to play cricket, or somebody might want to do like play a guitar or something. So there are things in life that you do without getting paid, okay.
Hmm.
And if you can find a career where the work is such that you would do the work even if you're not getting paid, okay, then that is the best fit for that person, because every person is unique. In
Hmm.
my case, I was very interested in the stock market, in mutual funds, in learning about how to grow money, learn all the tax related rules, because then you could save tax and make money grow faster, etc. So making money grow faster is something I will do without getting additionally paid as a salary, because if I grow my money faster anyway, I'm getting more money, right?
Hmm.
So so in terms of the financial aspects of things, it was very clear to me that I'm very interested in that field. And I mean, by default, I am watching CNBC or any Bloomberg, or I'm consuming finance news, or I'm reading finance books, which I am purchasing myself. It's not a part of a course. I don't need marks for that. Okay,
Hmm.
so there are certain things you do in life because you're interested in it. And the same thing was also with technology, because I knew the power of technology, that finally, if you have to build a product or do something in business, you will need the help of technology. So that way, the shortlisting for me was pretty clear. Like just after engineering, I was clear with the shortlisting process. And so basically, what happened was, since 2008 to 10, there were a lot of experiences that I got. There was a global financial crisis, so that made good a lot of impact on the not just the financial market, but also on people's career and in general. For us who were at that moment either in B school, and I mean, I was near Wall Street also. I used to go there. I saw a lot of things which actually helped to shape the thinking that, okay, it is not just a simple thing that you go and buy some investment product and everything will get done. There's a lot of risk management and other aspects that you need to learn. So
Hmm.
unless you actually have full deep knowledge of finance, it is not possible that you can do a proper investment related service or wealth management. Nowadays what happens is, somebody will see a post on Instagram, and they will think that, okay, if I do this, I'll get rich. It is not so simple. So there's a lot of theory and a lot of things that you need to know. So that's where the journey began, that I need to first learn myself. That's why I completed all the CFA, level 1, level 2, level 3. I'm a CFA charter holder. So all that effort was to really understand. I was not doing it only for the degree or only
Mm,
for the certificate. You need to, learn. Like even now, though I'm around 40, but I still start, if I think something new has come up, I would keep updating. I took a course with someone called Nicholas Nassim Taleb, who's a very good, well-known person on the risk related area. And
mm,
kind of things or insights I got from him are very valuable. But that is because you're inherently interested. So that to answer your question, the inherent interest somebody has to identify. He cannot be interested in 400 things.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, and then what happened? I mean, you understood your core interest,
Yes.
and but I
So
also understand that you worked at Tata Group and many other companies.
yes,
You
yes.
you
So
were
everything,
managing. Yeah.
so that once you have understood that you will be in the investment side, then all the jobs and all the roles you will start searching in that area only. And with the Tata Group, the good thing was they gave me a role in the treasury department where I was managing around 12,000 crores of investments. So that helped to learn about the industry, as well as it helped to uh, like get connects. A lot of mutual fund CEOs and all I could easily meet. So that network actually helped. And even in US, I was working with UBS and other companies to get that experience. But finally, I knew that I had to come to India and do the business, because obviously my family and everybody is here. Plus, in US, there were at that time, even now, there are a lot of visa issues, H1B and all. And with H1B, it's very difficult to start a company. And also, I did not even plan to do any company or anything in US at that time. From a financial perspective and from many other perspective, India was the better choice, and India was also growing and a lot of VC funding, etc., was also coming. So India, I was very clear. Then around 2014-15, it was also clear to me that finance and technology landscape will change rapidly in India because of things like Aadhaar, the India stack that they call UPI was coming up. These things we were following, that okay, once these technology stack comes up, people will not go with a form or a check and do investments. Earlier it was a lot of paperwork, very cumbersome processes, and processes would improve over time. And so around 2015 I decided to like eventually quit my job and start something. And also the other thing which I mentioned you, the Zomato kind of story, where I had done something in 23 to 2003 in digitizing the menus, etc., but I didn't continue it because of academic work. Now in 2015-16, I didn't want to do the same mistake of not starting again. It's like,
Mm,
you have an idea, you're very clear that something will work out, but then you just don't act. And it happens a lot. Many people want to be an entrepreneur. They say, I have this idea, I have that idea. Many times in parties and all, my friends keep talking about ideas. But out of all that talk, a very small percentage gets the courage to act. Again, out of that courage to act percentage, there is a very small who survive more than 1 year in the business.
right.
And to survive, say, for 5 years, 10 years is very tough. Not everybody is able to survive in this business world for 5 or 10 years. So you have to be very passionate about what you're going to do, and also you have to be mentally prepared for all the ups and downs that will be on the way. So when I was prepared to take that decision, so I like quit, and then I started. And currently the we have 300,000 plus users, and we are operationally like profitable. Overall, the company is stable. So it has been a very long journey, but it has been a very good journey in terms of taking the risk, and the risk playing out properly.
Now coming to the cash reach, for listeners who might not be aware of what cash reach is, could you walk us through what is the platform about and how it aims to simplify wealth management for everyday Indian investors?
Sure, sure. So if you go back to like 2010-12 time frame, what used to happen was all the investment transactions used to take a lot of time. It used to take paperwork. So that was one problem. And all the intermediaries who were in between, they were less incentivized to provide good quality financial products. If you walk into a bank, like I went with my father to a private bank in India, and was at that time a retired person, and the bank was not willing to give him any debt fund, liquid fund, etc. They were not willing to sell only. They were only pushing ULIPs, which are insurance linked products. And for a person who's retired and who is, not going to use that insurance, and and the overall return which is going to get generated is going to be quite low because of all the commissions and high costs, which those embedded costs which are there in the ULIP. So I kept seeing such examples everywhere with my friends and family, where the bank relationship manager was mis-selling at a very rapid and bad scale. He was just All the bank relationship managers were like that because they had very clear targets to pitch those products which maximize the profit of the bank and
Mm.
minimize the profit of the customer. So that was
Right.
a very clear problem in India. Even now it exists, but has
Yes.
reduced a bit. Okay, then there was the other set of insurance agents who would come to a house and somehow convince you and then put money in some money back policy, some guaranteed scheme, etc. Again, their money gets locked. The CAGR sometimes is 4%, 6%. It's so low, and money gets locked for 20 years. And people don't understand time value of money. They will say that if you invest this much every year, then after 20 years you will get 10 lakh rupees. And 10 lakh rupees after 20 years will have very little purchasing power. Inflation will eat the purchasing power, but that concept
Yes.
people will not understand, right? So because of all these issues, uh, I felt that something needs to be done. And on the other side, if when because I was managing money with Tata Group, I was getting access to good quality investment research and advice, because
Mhm.
all the mutual fund CXOs and their senior officials used to come and meet, and the kind of information I was getting was of a different quality. I could understand what is good and bad in this industry. There are 6,000 plus mutual fund schemes. Not everything is good or suitable for everybody. There will be some schemes which are good, or some things which are not suitable. So how will a normal person who is not so much experienced in finance understand the difference? It's very
Mm.
difficult. And only those products will get sold which would have better remuneration for the intermediary. That is how the industry was structured. So and also there was a high cost of operation. Suppose a bank has so many branches, they have to rent real estate, so many people will be in that office, a lot of operational costs. So bank also needs to missell to survive. It's their business model. So something different had to be done so that good quality investment services could be provided to the middle class retail investor, because the HNIs could access better quality investment research and everything. And but middle class was not getting it. Middle class was just being pushed products which were in many cases detrimental to their wealth.
Mm.
So with that particular problem statement, the solution had to be different. So the way we structured CashRich, and which is now used by a lot of people in India as well as NRIs. So a lot of people, thousands of customers are using it daily. So the reason they are using it is that we have simplified that entire process of investment. The account opening, KYC, etc. is mostly digital,
Mhm.
and the account is free, and they can just download the CashRich app and create the account. The second step is that we have already curated around 30-35 schemes in different categories, and we have put it in the app. So people can actually do their own research also, but we also keep doing our own research. So we have already curated the good scheme. So they don't need to look for those 6,000 options. For them, that 30-35 is more than enough for
Mhm.
managing their money. So that is the second step that we have done. And all the transactions and investment withdrawal, everything is very easy. If somebody can use WhatsApp, they can use our app to manage their money without going to relationship manager, or without going to uh, a branch or any office. Everything is in the mobile app.
Mhm.
And the third part is, when you buy something, at that point in time, it may be the right product, but financial markets keep changing. And some funds, they keep changing their strategy. Sometimes the fund manager quits his job. Sometimes SEBI comes with a new regulation. So what you purchase today may be good, but
Mm.
3 years from today, it may not be good.
Right.
So that is a point where nobody helps. Very, very few platforms are doing that. In fact, all the major platforms have made it completely do it yourself, where you come, you decide, you purchase, when you want to sell, you sell. But nobody is monitoring the portfolios of the customers. That is where customers are going to face challenges in the future, because what you purchase today might be right, but after some time, if
Mm.
there is a problem, nobody will come and tell you.
Right.
And portfolio monitoring is very important, which we do on a regular basis. And we have portfolio updates and sometimes quarterly calls, etc., with our customers, because portfolio review needs to be done so that what you have purchased, whatever investments are there, somebody can at least monitor that things are going on right. Because normal times, bull markets are there, etc., nobody cares, everything is going up. But again, the cycle reverses sometime, and when the
Mm.
cycle reverses or something bad happens in the economy, then all the risk will show up, and that is when people will get stuck. So that's why the risk management is very important. I'll give you maybe two three examples also, like
Yeah,
in
please
the,
do.
yeah, so in 2018, small cap schemes were at a very high valuation, and people were just investing a lot, and we tried to stop the small cap SIPs in our app by not displaying those schemes. So if you don't display, people don't generally find it, so there's less chance of mistake. And some
Mm.
people used to still ask for it, so we used to explain that the valuations are very high, but if you want to go ahead, you can go ahead with the transaction. But we were trying to tell them that it's very high. From that point in 2018 till the crash of COVID, those small cap schemes had lost 50%. Minus 50% was the return. And only after COVID crash, we also introduced small cap schemes again. And from that point, they have really done very well. But that minus 50% we had prevented by not offering those schemes.
Mm.
Similarly, what we did was in 2019, we realized that most of the tech platforms, like digital, investment platforms, they are just sorting all the schemes by return, and whichever is the highest return, that comes up first. Sometimes they also use some five-star rating, but there is no basis of some of those ratings, but they use those five-star ratings, and so rating and this return, and then automatically, few schemes will come on top. With that logic, Franklin Templeton's debt funds used to be in the top choice for most of the
Mm.
short-term debt funds and all, because their returns were highest, and most of these rating companies were also giving them five-star. But in our own internal analysis, because I have a background in the treasury market and in Tata Steel, when I was working, we used to analyze such investments carefully, because we were putting, 500 crore, 1000 crore in one investment transaction. So you cannot just look at like Google search return and rating. You have to do some more work. So
Mm.
with that background, what we did was we analyzed how is this scheme continuously giving higher return. It cannot be a magic. There has to be a higher risk somewhere to generate that higher return.
Right.
And when we found the reasons, we thought that this will someday blow up. We cannot say which day, that is not possible, but someday. So I have coined a term for risk management. I call it WANI, WANI, which
Mm-hmm.
means when and not if. So WANI is when and not if, and I use that framework to determine what should be the next course of action. So to explain you further, there are certain situations in life when you know that something is 100% going to happen. Okay, so it's not if, it's not a probability that it may or may not happen. You know it will happen. You
Mm.
just don't know when. Okay, if somebody is consuming lot of cigarettes and alcohol every day, and is destroying his health, he's obese, someday health problem will happen.
Mm.
Okay, it's not a if, it will happen. You don't know whether it will next 2 years, 5 years, but it will happen. So there are certain conditions in life when you know something bad or something good will happen, but you don't know when. In such situations, you should prepare for that condition beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
So in Franklin Templeton Fund's case, we knew that someday it will get into a problem. We don't know when, but we should not wait for that time. We should exit. So we told all our customers that if you are holding this Franklin Templeton, we are not comfortable. We would not be selling Franklin debt funds further.
Mm.
Because of that, what happened was some of the users who had existing investments, they withdrew, and also from our app we stopped selling those funds, and that was in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
2020 COVID crash happened.
Right.
now our prediction was not linked to COVID. I obviously in 2019 didn't know there would be a COVID related thing.
Mm,
But when that COVID crash happened in April 2020, almost 26,000 crores plus of investors' money got stuck in the Franklin Templeton debt fund.
mhm,
Okay. And many of these investment platforms, I think almost all of them had users with these investments because none of them did portfolio monitoring, none of them did this risk management. It was for them only a selling platform, right? So nobody told the users to exit. Only CashRich had done that, and none of our users got affected. Because none of our users got affected at that time, their confidence in the markets as well as in CashRich increased. They trust
mm,
us more now. So we didn't lose our users at that point in time. We actually gained their trust.
mm,
Okay, which is very important in investments. And also, what happened was there was a competitor called Wealth App at that time, and they had some investments. They had a good chunk of investments in Franklin debt funds, and because of this issue their end users got upset. They started withdrawing. Their VCs or investors, shareholders got also upset. So finally we were able to acquire that company also.
mm,
So what I'm saying is this risk management kind of things are very important. Normal days when things are going on right, no problem, but when that risk event happens, when that black swan event happens, or when there is a big crash, some sort of a event which really we cannot predict, then all these measures that you take beforehand will only help you.
right.
On the day of the event, you cannot do anything.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's so true. Uh, the next and final question that I have is around entrepreneurship. Can you tell us, of all these years of building your venture and being an entrepreneur, what have you learned about entrepreneurship, and how would you compare that with a job life? So entrepreneur's life versus job life. I think you have had both side of the table. So compare and tell us the both advantages and disadvantages. I mean, we shouldn't picture it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
No, so obviously both sides have advantages and disadvantages. Sometimes people see the funding related news and they see that okay, some entrepreneur is on TV, there's a lot of media coverage, etc. So they think it's very fashionable or it's very interesting, etc. But the actual hard work that goes on behind the scenes is not possible for everyone. It's not everyone cannot actually take that much of stress on a very regular basis. So there will be people who might find it interesting, who love ambiguity, who love taking decisions fast, who like to meet people, do sales. That sort of personality will like to be an entrepreneur. But if somebody just wants to sit at home and do their own work, and or they don't want to have too much of variability in life, they want stability in life, then job is much better. So it depends a lot on the person's personality, what they prefer.
Mm-hmm.
And if for example, if there is a 9 to 6 kind of a job, at 6 p.m. you can shut down your laptop, leave, and not bother to see emails.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because you are doing work life balance.
Right.
But in an entrepreneur's life there is no work life balance. Work is equal to life, and you can try to structure things in a way that you can take out more time, etc. But if there is an emergency, if there is a problem, suppose there is a technical issue, or suppose there is a large client who has to be delivered something, then the buck stops with the entrepreneur. He cannot switch off the phone or shut down the laptop and say that I will not do it. Then you're not delivering on your promise. Your promise is what your word is very important. That's why people are trusting you. If you have said you will deliver something, whatever is required you will do to deliver it.
Right.
And otherwise there's not, nobody will trust you in the market. So that's very important. In a job I have seen people who can cut corners, who can say I felt sick, I was not there, something happened, and you can give an excuse and get out of that work. In
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurship you cannot do that. And also when in Tata, like I remember when some say tax related query would come, or a compliance related query would come, or an agreement, legal agreement would come, I would simply click the forward button, put the team's email ID in, to CC, BCC, etc. Like in corporate world, they like doing all this forwarding of email, right? So all these forwarding managers are there in every corporate, and these forwarding managers have very little accountability or responsibility. They just forward the email, ho gaya, uske baad we'll see. Okay, because now it is not your, the ball is not in your court. It has now been
Right.
sent somewhere. It's volleyball management. Okay. So that's how corporate life works. But in an entrepreneurial life, I had been called by some income tax officers for some sort of scrutiny. Okay.
Hmm.
And I mean, it was not a case of any sort. It was just that they were trying to find something. But anyway, that's a different sort of pressures in an entrepreneur's life of dealing with government officials and regulators and other things. But anyway, what I'm saying to say is, in that situation, in a corporate, I would have a lot more people. There will be compliance team, legal team, tax related team who will come and all help me. And I will also know that at the end, it's not my responsibility. I had done my work by forwarding that email. Okay. But when you are an entrepreneur and you're sitting in front of that, it's a tax officer or a regulator, and he's saying, your company has done this, you explain this action. You
Right.
cannot say, I have forwarded the mail. You have to explain it to them, and that is your action. You have signed, and it is your company. Okay. So that kind of inbuilt responsibility and inbuilt skin in the game is not there in a job. You can easily resign and leave. Here, you cannot resign and leave.
Yeah, I think that's so true. Entrepreneurship is a high risk and high reward game. And this is not to discourage anyone. I think if you want to make money, and there are a lot of ways to do that. But if you are into entrepreneurship, then you have to be in it for a long run. And I mean,
Yeah.
it comes with a
Yes.
lot of stress.
Exactly. But the good part is that you can structure things as per your. So I gave you the reality and some of the disadvantages in terms of the responsibility. And all, but the good part is that obviously there is no limit on your upside. If you are really doing well, you can make as much money as possible. I mean, there are entrepreneurs who have tens of crores, hundreds of crores, thousands of crores.
Hmm.
It depends how much you can make. There's no limit. It's not like a boss will decide on a 6% or a 10% hike every year. If you
Right.
can do more, you can do any amount of money making, right? So that's one big upside potential which is there in entrepreneurship. Second thing is, since leaving the job, I have not attended a single boring meeting, because if there is
Hmm.
a boring meeting, I will not schedule it.
Right.
Okay, which is a big freedom for me. So I have not applied for a leave, because as an entrepreneur, you don't apply for leave. You are there and you're also not there. Like it's like there is no one above you, right? So you don't apply for a leave. You don't
Right.
wait for somebody to approve your leave. Okay. And so you can plan anything. So last 2 years, every year I've gone to at least 8, 9 countries. Okay. And
Wow.
I've combined it with work and also, just meeting people and just seeing the place. Now, I am sure that I would not be able to travel 8, 9 countries per year as in a job situation, because in if I am in a middle management or a senior management kind of position, I'll be having a lot of job pressure, and every time I have to apply for a leave for 2, 3 days, everybody will question, why are you taking leave?
Yes.
Okay, so that kind of pressures are not there. So there is the advantage also that you can structure your life in the way you want.
Yes. Uh, Unfortunately, on this note, we'll have to close this interesting discussion. Uh,
Sure.
Thanks for joining us, Saugata. Pleasure speaking with you, and thanks for sharing a lot of insights around entrepreneurship, around the world of finance. And I think you're doing a great job at building a trustable platform. So kudos to you, and my best wishes.
Thank you, and it'll be great if your audience also tries CashRich app. As they can go to Play Store, App Store, and download CashRich.
Absolutely. Thank you,
Okay,
Saugata.
thanks a lot. Bye.